It's going to be, 40 years ago, and let me see if I can remember some of the things that happened that's important for people to know.
I was in Chapman Hall. We were being arrested by the police for the takeover of the Chancellor's office.
The police come in and they go all around the walls with the white sticks and shells, plastic shells. In 1968, Roberto Hernandez, Armando Orellana, Jesús Alas, Chacón, todos estábamos tratando de ver en qué forma podríamos conseguir becas escolares para la universidad. Entonces pensamos que sería más efectivo si formáramos un grupo y formamos el concilio for the education of the Latin Americans.
There had been large community meetings that had taken place in the near South Side regarding the lack of participation of Latino students at the University of Wisconsin at Milwaukee. We had earlier in the summer presented a proposal to the School of Education, to the Dean of the School of Education, that is Richard Davis. And although he was very sympathetic towards our demands for the establishment of the Spanish-speaking Outreach Institute, he felt that his school, or that is the School of Education, could not handle all of the demands that were being made by the community, and he's the one that directed us to go to the Chancellor's office.
We find out that it was only around 10 students, Latin students, and most of them from South America, but none from Wisconsin. And we pay taxes like everybody else. So we tried to talk to Mr. Klotsche to get the scholarships.
We wanted to meet with the Chancellor various times to talk about how the university could play a major role in recruiting Latinos to attend the University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee. The attempt to organize the meeting with the Chancellor at that time, we met at the UMass on 8th in Greenfield to strategize how we can address the issue of education. And we look back and say that we had a lot of Latinos graduating from South Division and other high schools that were not being geared towards higher education. The counselors, which we had no Latino counselor, no Latino teacher, no Latino principals, they were being geared towards the foundries and meat packing and janitorial work and maybe working in McDonald's and other places, but not to higher education.
The university as an institution really had not acknowledged the fact that there was a growing Latino community, Hispanic, Chicanos, Puerto Ricans primarily. And so some people began to say, okay, we had pushed the schools to come up with programs, although there was no bilingual program, there was no legislation. That didn't come until the mid-70s. But the university seemed to be a logical place.
We had initially sent communications to the Chancellor's office about meeting with him, but had not had a satisfactory response. In lieu of a satisfactory response is the proposed takeover of the Chancellor's office.
We tried to get a meeting on Mr. Klotsche, but 5 or 6 times he canceled the appointment but few hours before. So the last time we decide that he canceled, we're going to stay there until we talk to him. So they say that if we don't leave at 5 o'clock, they call the police. And we say, you can call the police, but we're going to stay here until we talk to Mr. Klotsche.
The university had already some experience with the fact that there were demands on them, that the University of Wisconsin and Milwaukee was changing very much like universities were changing all over this country. We cannot look at the event at UWM in isolation from the fact that all over this country there were groups of students that were demanding changes in the university and that were insisting that universities needed to revisit themselves and think about themselves as places that added to the demographic changes in a particular community.
There were very few students, Latinos, at UWM. So it couldn't come from inside. It had to come from outside. And it had to come from parents, and it had to come from some of the leaders of the community organizations, and it had to come from the activist movement. People like Jesus, who had led marches to Madison, mostly focusing on migrant issues, and others who were, church people were heavily involved in this. You're right. This was a community push, not a student-driven push.
When I moved to Milwaukee in 1968, 200 consecutive days of open housing marches had just concluded in the north side. Milwaukee was bustling with community organizing activity and direct action. So this is the scenario of our presenting the demands to the University of Wisconsin. We participated in direct action, or that is, if they would not respond to our demands, we would escalate our initiatives. And we thought that we had been patient enough with the university. We'd gone through the proper channels, and that's why we decided that we would take that direct action, or that is, commit civil disobedience, get arrested, to bring attention to the fact that out of 25,000 students, there were only a handful. That is, all the Latino students of those 25,000 could sit in one table. Okay? And we wanted something done.
Taking over the office of the chancellor was one thing. When you don't get a reaction to it, and you get a lot of media coverage, doesn't solve the problem, or doesn't bring you the solutions that you're looking for. So when we were warned about to leave the chancellor's office, we decided to allowed 5 people to get arrested. And those people that got arrested was because we need to continue what we started. And the people arrested was Dante Navarro, Jesus Salas, Gregorio Rivera, Marla Anderson, and Luis Huerta. So that was another stage of our movement towards higher education.
Lo primero que oí del Chapman Takeover fue que le hablé a mi mamá por teléfono y me dijo, ¿sabes qué, mijita? Me arrestaron. Dije, ¿qué? Una vergüenza que me dio de repente. Dije, ¿pero cómo te arrestaron, mamá? Sí, me arrestaron, mijita. ¿Y qué andabas haciendo? Pues andaba con un montón de muchachos, dice. Y fuimos y protestamos en la universidad para que le dieran mejores derechos de entrada a los hispanos.
Cuando mi mamá se metió al movimiento con ellos, a ayudarles, to help them out, she automatically brought in families, señoras. Y you know, que en nuestra comunidad, when the ladies at home, when las mujeres de la casa se meten a un movimiento you know who comes next? The husbands. They have to, con que quieran o no quieran, tienen que entrar al movimiento también. Y ahí para respaldar a la mujer, to help the woman out. Because one thing that I have to say, and I give credit to, que fue por el movimiento, el esfuerzo de la mujer en ese tiempo, en 1970. It was because of the ability of the woman to come forward and help in our community and activism, especially the male counterpart, to help them. It was because of the woman that actually made this a success. Because the woman brought in the family, brought in friends, you name it, cousins, todos se metieron, y ¿sabes qué? Fue un éxito. Y esto no nomás pasó con los mexicanos. There were Puerto Ricans involved too, Puerto Rican community. Everybody that was in our community was involved.
Yo le pregunté, le dije, mamá, ¿pero cómo hiciste esto? Dice, mira, Marla, se necesitaba hacer algo. ¿Ok? Y yo fui parte de esa necesidad. Y yo lo que pudiera hacer, nomás con presencia o haciendo bulto, para agarrar resultados, por eso lo hicimos. La señora Ortega, bien linda, Clementina Castro, todas las Adelitas, que les nombran las Adelitas, muy involucradas también en esto.
I was already a student in 1970, but I saw more than anybody else in that sense that that place was not welcoming to my people. Lorenzo Tovar at that time was having a little difficulty also because he and I felt that we didn't have any Latinos there. And I was teaching at the Spanish Center at night, and we always discussed the fact that nobody was going to the university. Nobody was advancing to this great level of higher education. And I felt that just one or two of us there, I don't remember all the other 10, I never saw any others. There's only two of us, three, Roberto Hernandez, Lorenzo Tovar, and myself, as far as I knew. And I knew that we couldn't do that. We had to open the door for other people to come and get educated so we could advance our community.
When we got in jail, that was the first time I've been in jail. And Jesus Salas, he was detained before. So we got in the same cell, Jesus and I. Jesus lay in bed, and I was walking back and forth by the door. And Jesus Salas asked me, "What's the matter with you?" So I say, "It's the first time I'm in jail. I don't know, I'm ashamed, I'm afraid." He said, "You're ashamed? We're not here because we did something wrong. We're here because we're asking for the education of our people."
There were some people saying, "I'm glad I'm here. You know, we're not here, we're not criminals. We're here for education." And people were talking to one another and saying, "I think that we can do a good thing for our kids and sons and daughters for the future."
Nos arrestaron a las 5 de la tarde. A las 11 de la noche nos dijeron que ya nos podemos ir a la casa. Entonces les pregunté yo, ¿pero por qué? Y me dice Jesús, no preguntes ya nada, vámonos. Y les digo yo, bueno, ¿qué tenemos que venir a corte mañana? Y Jesús dice, ya no preguntes, vámonos. Pues cuando salimos, Jesús me dice, pues vamos a la universidad. Le digo, son las 11 de la noche, Jesús, ¿a qué vamos? Pues para ver qué pasó. Pues agarramos un taxi y fuimos a la universidad. Y ahí fue donde hasta lágrimas me salieron de los ojos de ver que había más de 500 gentes con cojines y cobijas en los campos de la universidad en protesta de que por eso nos dejaron salir.
There isn't anyone in this room that participated in those activities that can say that they weren't afraid. I think you're more afraid of not having your rights. See, that's the other issue. Then you gain strength from the community itself, from the courage.
From the University of Wisconsin, I have reached an agreement on the immediate establishment of a Spanish-speaking outreach institute. As stated in the formal agreement between the university and the community, the primary purposes of the Spanish-Speaking Outreach Institute will be as follows: in meeting the special educational needs of the Spanish-speaking community through the development of appropriate programs and activities in both academic and non-academic units, to assist the Spanish-speaking community.
All of us have the capacity to discover what we are passionate about. And each of us should spend time trying to make that discovery of what you feel passionate of as an individual. And that it may not come overnight, and it may be difficult for you to identify what you feel passion for or towards. But it is discoverable, and when you discover it, go and get it. Is that we need individuals that have a passion, a vision about what their lives are. The more you read, the more you study, the more you interact with different people, with similar people, the better you become at understanding who you are, what you are, and why you are. And also that contributes to your sense of passion for whatever you choose to do. In la comunidad Latina, we need more individuals to embark in those kind of discoveries and then to begin implementing and doing what passionately they want to do.
Congratulations, happy birthday, and all the best to the next 40 years for the SSOI and the Roberto Hernandez Center.
Adiós, adiós, lucero de mis noches, dijo un soldado al pie de una ventana. Me voy, pero no llores, ángel.